guys? You are back at Clever TV. I'm Jocelyn Davis in the studio with my partner in crime, Dana Ward.
Hello.
And we are very excited to have joining us in the studio for the first time ever, a prince come to life. We have Sam Claflin joining us in the studio from Snow White and the Huntsman. I first have to say thank you so much for coming by because you have been all over the world in the past 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, this is my last pit stop, and straight back home after this. I'm kind of enjoying every moment that I can, enjoying as much sun as I can.
Exactly.
Not overseas, anyway.
So Dana and I had the pleasure of seeing the movie last night, and we loved it. It's beautiful, and the characters are so amazing.
Amazing
great job. Explain for the viewers how this is a different take on the popular story of Snow White.
Well, it's a rediscovery, I suppose you could say, of like the classic that we're all familiar with. I think most people are familiar with the Disney version, which has the hi ho, it's off to work we go. All singing, all dancing,
right.
Bluebirds and rabbit, bushy tails kind of thing. No, it's what's amazing about this is that it is a kind of darker retelling. That all the characters that we're all familiar with have been sort of turned on their heads slightly, reimagined, recreated, and everyone's got a past and hopefully a future. There's sort of new characters. There's a new world that's been created, and it's something I was very thrilled to be a part of.
And you play Prince William.
William.
Explain how your character fits into the plot, because I feel like it is, and I think Dana would agree that it's different from what people might expect.
Yeah, I think that's what really...
In a great way.
Yeah, that's what really drew me to the kind of project, really. I think the fact that they wanted to take Prince Charming, this guy that, stalks the woods for a girl that's sleeping, kisses her, and lives happily ever after. Pretty much the fairy tales, that is all he does. With Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, he just kind of appears out of the woods every time.
To save the day.
No, but I kind of like the fact that he sort of grew up with Snow White, as sort of friends. Their fathers work side by side, and they were kind of destined to be together, I think. They were sort of thrust together as kids. And as they're ripped apart, he kind of goes his own way, imagining that she's no longer with us. And when he hears word that she's alive, he does everything in his power to get her back, to win her back, to rediscover their love for each other.
And obviously you have some really great romantic and even just great scenes with friendship involved with Kristen Stewart. What was it like working with her behind the scenes?
Just that, really. I think for me, it wasn't just Kristen either. I think, especially from a very, very sort of simple life in England, I've always imagined that Hollywood was going to be filled with all these divas and people that I wasn't going to be allowed to look at, let alone talk to. But I was very sort of quickly surprised and overwhelmed at how sort of welcoming everyone is, and how generous and kind and talented, obviously. It's kind of, I've grown up watching these guys on the big screen, so to have the opportunity to kind of rub shoulders with them, watch them do their thing, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. They are just very down to earth, grounded, normal people. I was very, very lucky.
Now, I love that Dana mentioned the romantic scenes, because not to spoil anything for anyone, but there is some kissing in this movie. What was it like? People want to know, what was it like kissing Kristen Stewart?
Well, do you know what? We did the shot, because I think the shot in the trailer of me kissing her isn't actually in the film. I think that was something we did separately to begin with. That was my first day.
Interesting.
That was my first day of filming. I think you can see that I have no stubble, and then obviously I'd grown it by the time we'd started filming properly. But there was... that was my first day of filming, so I was turned up to work, kind of very, very shell-shocked and wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, kind of kneeling or straddling Kristen Stewart, kissing her on the lips. It was pretty intense, but they threw me straight into the deep end, and it was pretty incredible, I have to say.
You came out alive.
Yeah, she did not bite my head off, thank God.
So there is this really great scene, happens to be with the two of you, beautiful snow scene. I don't want to give too much away, but there's a really surprising twist with your character. Did you kind of see this coming, or how did you even prepare for this surprising, shocking twist?
It was something that came quite late in the development of the script. I think through the process, it was like a new storyline kind of side of things, and that did definitely surprise me somewhat. I didn't know how I felt at first. I was like, what? So I can't really talk about it too openly.
You did a good job, though.
Yeah,
no,
we like that part.
We were shocked.
It was my favourite scene to film, I think, only because I had the opportunity to really play with the character. I don't know how much I can talk about it. It was something that really excited me, and hopefully, it will surprise a few people. And I mean, again, that's what's great about this retelling, is there are so many twists and turns and unexpected moments that hopefully will surprise people, despite the fact that everyone knows the story. There are new elements, so it's exciting.
It's one of many, many scenes to look out for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's kind of a non-stop.
No lulls at all.
No,
it's
constantly
going,
you're on the edge of your seat, and I think it's fantastic. I'm very proud to be a part of it.
Now talk to us a little bit about shooting on location. Obviously beautiful, beautiful shots. Where were you guys at? Fill us all in.
I mean,
you were over the pond for sure.
Definitely, no, it was all shot in England. So for me, I was kind of used to the mud and the cold weather, whereas the likes of Charlize Theron, Chris Hemsworth, maybe him less so, but Kristen Stewart, they're not used to the cold. So I think they were kind of wearing thermals and gloves and slippers and scarves and hats. No, for me, it was very. What the director created, he pretty much created the world that you see on the screen. There was pretty much every element was built, handmade. So there was really fire kind of that we were running through and running around. So you could feel the heat of that. So there was sort of no acting involved, really.
You were actually scared for
Yeah, I was,
you were thrown
especially
right in there.
on the horse riding down the beach. I was quite literally. The adrenaline was pumping, but I was scared for my life, I have to say.
Now, something else you really looked like you knew what you were doing is with that bow and arrow.
Yeah,
I mean, are you a bowman? Is that the right word? I don't even know the terminology, but.
Oh yeah, that sounded good. A bowman.
A bowman or an archer.
Archer.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Did you have to do a lot of training for that?
It was very physically demanding. This whole job. I think pretty much from the get-go. I was standing next to Chris Hemsworth with a six-pack and pecs. Mr. Thor.
I know. I wonder if he works out.
I don't think he does. No, I think it's natural. I think he came out
of the womb like that.
Yeah. That's how he was born.
Some people are blessed.
No, and do you know what? I think there was a constant uphill battle for me to kind of try to get to where Chris Hemsworth was. So very physically, I kind of threw myself into every scene and every moment. There was a lot of training and a lot of gym, a lot of it was a bit too much hard work for my liking. But
I hear you guys actually became pretty good friends, buddies, romance perhaps.
I say this, but I don't know if he feels the same way.
Chris.
We should maybe write love letters, become pen pals. I don't know. But no, I do have a soft spot for that man. He's a good lad. He's a good boy.
Cool.
Now we heard that there were more than 1,500 special effects in this movie, which is amazing.
That's news to me.
Really? That's what we heard last night at the premiere.
No, we actually taught those rabbits to all run in time with each other. Oh no!
Lots of choreography in this movie.
There was a very long-winded process, but no, I mean, yeah, the special effects guys were absolutely sensational. Because pretty much before we shot a scene, if there was ever any moment that you were kind of reacting to something that didn't exist, they'd show you a picture. This is what's happening. You're like, okay.
That's frightening, right?
That's pretty scary. Exactly. Just imagine it's in front of you, and so you always had you always had something to think about, and they were true geniuses, I have to say.
Yeah, and a handful of these special effects were in the dark forest. Ridiculously creepy, evil, gross. What would have freaked you out the most if you were entering as Snow White?
Snow White. The fact that I was a
Snow White.
woman, I think that probably freaked me out the most. Why am I dressed? Why am I wearing a dress? Like, what's going on? No, I don't know. I think not one thing is kind of nice about that dark forest. The troll's pretty horrific.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was on the edge of the dark forest, fine, but I don't know. Like the bat thing that comes out of the tree is pretty spooky.
Man, and now that you've
demonic,
you've seen the movie, it's out. How many times have you seen it?
Twice.
Twice. What did you think when you saw it?
I don't like looking at my face. Like there's something about watching myself on screen that makes me cringe. I think it's because as an actor I sit there and I look at all my bad habits. So if I do something too much, I can't. I'm not my biggest fan. However, as a whole, as a piece, I'm so proud. Like I think to have a first-time director achieve something like that, I think it's outstanding.
Definitely.
Then from the likes of Kristen's performance, I think is mind-blowing. Accents across the board, I'm impressed with. It's kind of everything about it was something to kind of wonder. It was wonder at. It was, I'm very, very proud.
So kind of just to backtrack as we wrap things up, take us back to when you found out that you got this part, because there were so many people. We've been following casting as the movie was rolling out, and there was probably a lot of people who wanted to be in your shoes. So what was your reaction?
I'll never forget the moment I got the phone call saying we'd like to offer you the part. I was in London on the South Bank. I don't know if you're familiar, but it's basically a huge bridge that goes over the River Thames, and I found out like on one side of the river, and my fiance was on the other side of the river. So the moment I got it, I started swearing like very loudly, going no, like no,
very joyously,
very loudly. And then obviously people were staring at me, and I said, "I've got Tourette's, leave me alone." And then I ran across the bridge, told my fiance, and kind of celebrated. I was shell shocked. I was very overwhelmed, very thrilled that someone would actually take a risk on me. Really, I've not got much experience to my name, and I'm sure there were a lot of people who were better for the job, but for some stupid reason they chose me, and here I am. I'm very, very lucky. So lucky.
Yeah.
So lucky to be here.
Well, congratulations. We think you did a great job.
No,
and
an
lucky for
amazing
you.
job.
You might not like watching yourself, but there's a lot of people out there who are going to enjoy themselves.
No,
So
fingers
congrats.
crossed. Hey.
Thanks for coming in.
No, thank you
nice
for having me.
Sam.
Thank you so much for having me.
And you guys out there,
Prince
make
Charming.
sure to mark your calendars for June 1st, because that is when Snow White and the Huntsman hits theaters, and you have to be there. From Dana Ward, I'm Jocelyn Davis. Thanks for watching us on Clever TV.
See ya.
Peace.